just so we know if we're a little.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here with us this morning. Please change your name in the picture to your name, district, and organization if you are not with a school district. Welcome to the School Action Fund webinar as part of the Learning Acceleration Support Opportunities LASO 3 series of webinars. While you're here in the chat, please answer, what do you hope to learn today while you are with us? Welcome again. My name is Laura Hyatt. I am the manager of the School Action Fund here at TEA. And with me here today is Chris DeWitt. I'll have him introduce himself.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Chris DeWitt. I'm the Director of System Support at the Texas Education Agency.
So in today's webinar, we're going to quickly review the LASO 3 application process and timeline, then move into a deep dive of the School Action Fund so that everyone here has clarity on the actions, governance types, and available models in SAF Cycle 9 in LASO 3. We will wrap up with accessible resources and a few next steps to help get you started on your application, as well as complete your application. While we are here together in this webinar, please submit your questions during the webinar using the Zoom Q&A. We will attempt to answer those questions during the webinar, but if we're not able to, we will collect them and make sure they're added to the FAQs to be posted next month. The webinar slides and recordings will be posted on the LASO 3 cycle website after all webinars have been completed. And you're also able to email questions to the laso@tea.texas.gov email address with follow-up questions. So let's jump right on into the overview of LASO Cycle 3, the application process and timeline. As you can see here, SAF, the School Action Fund, is a part of the Learning Acceleration Support Opportunities LASO Cycle 3. And this is the third iteration of LASO. And it is a consolidated grant application that strategically batches funding opportunities that support learning acceleration and innovation opportunities. So in this cycle, the agency has $160 million in services and supports that it will distribute to districts across 11 TEA initiatives to support learning acceleration and innovation. And the good news is that once again, it will come through in one program application for LEAs to access funding. And I'm sorry, I jumped ahead one slide. So, there we go. It seemed to be very quick for me this morning. So LASO, again, is a consolidated grant application to support key learning acceleration strategies across 3 groups of grants. So here you can see they're going to be in curriculum and instruction to support rigorous, high-quality instructional materials designed to make up ground and master grade-level TEKS. Then we have a bundle of grants in more time, and that's more time for the students in most need, so that they have included expanding instructional time in the summer and with targeted tutoring. And then we have grants in the innovative school models, which will incorporate all of the learning acceleration framework. And of course, School Action Fund is in this group. So here we have the 11 initiatives in the bundles, and I will just sit here for a moment so that you can take a look at these. And once again, you can see the School Action Fund is in the innovative school models on the right-hand side of the screen. And we are including ADSE full year in the School Action Fund, just as we did in LASO 2. So the additional days school year, full year, will be a specific model in the School Action Fund that is available to be selected. So once again, the curriculum and instructional grants are heavy in cycle 3, and this really leads into this because of the data that we see here. Only 50% of grades 3 through 8 students in Texas are reading on grade level. And then we know that with the math performance, that's even at a greater disadvantage because it really has not recovered in Texas to pre-COVID levels. So LASO Cycle 3 offers curriculum and instructional bundles. And there are 4 different bundles that are offering complementary school improvement bundles of CNI grants. So I'll give you a few minutes to take a look at the bundles here. And what I'd like to make sure to stress is that you review the information and attend the webinars on all of these grants so that you can decide whether or not a CNI bundle may be appropriate for your district. Once again, here's another example of what the curriculum and instruction bundles look like. And as a federally identified Title I campus, you have options in terms of these supports through LASO 3. Remember that each grant in the bundle options function independently, meaning that receiving one grant does not guarantee that you will receive the other grants. And so you must apply for each of the grants individually. This is just another way of taking a look at the grants. So once again, you can tell that if you select OER products, those are the TEA products, now known as Bluebonnet Learning, as released earlier this year, that you are able to select other grants, including SAF. You can see that clearly marked here as one of the supports that you can select. And again, remember to attend all webinars so that you can decide which ones make the most sense for your grant, for your district. Here we have really an estimate of what kind of hours various staff members in your district may be working on different grants across the curriculum and instructional grants, as well as the school action fund grants. So districts have asked what this might entail. So this is really an estimate, and this will be provided for you in the webinar when you get that as well. And so this might depend on anything from walkthroughs to what kind of work and professional development various staff members may be involved in. So now that we have gone through a pretty brief and quick overview of LASO 3, I'm going to hand it over to Chris, who's going to get into a more detailed deep dive into the School Action Fund.
Thank you, Laura. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation today, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. I'll start with a high-level overview of school actions and the School Action Fund. The School Action Fund is designed to support districts in planning and implementing a whole school model. We can go to the next slide. The School Action Fund's ultimate goal is for every campus we support to be rated A or B at the end of 2 years of implementation. This year, we anticipate awarding a total of $8 million in direct-to-district grants, plus separately funded technical assistance, which will be awarded to districts on an in-kind basis and is not included in the district award. Note that most of the grants we'll award this year are planning grants. Implementation grants are available for districts that have already completed planning the action with a TEA approved technical assistance provider by March 1st, 2025. We anticipate making up to 36 awards, and the awards will start in March 2025 and end June 2026. Campuses that meet 1-year milestones could be eligible for 1 to 2 years of additional support through a non-competitive continuation grant, which will be determined in spring 2026. So let's cover some basics. A school action is a whole school strategy districts use to increase access to high-quality schools, meet community demands, and address chronic underperformance. The School Action Fund is one of the main ways TEA supports campuses to plan and implement excellent school actions. There are 4 school actions that we support in the School Action Fund, and we'll review them briefly today, and there will be individual webinars for each action next week. The first action is to restart a chronically underperforming campus. Next, create a brand new campus. Next, reassign students to a higher performing campus. And finally, redesign an existing campus. To be eligible for the School Action Fund, campuses must be Title I serving and either comprehensive or targeted support identified. Also, the campus must not have received a previous School Action Fund grant since 2019 or to 2020, and may not be a recipient of the 2024-2026 Effective Schools Framework Focused Support Grant. So who is the School Action Fund a best fit for? SAF is best fit for districts interested in transforming campus and district systems to enable better student experiences, dramatically improving chronically underperforming campuses, creating brand new school options for families, and integrating multiple strategies such as HQIM, RBs, and new academic and staffing models into one coherent school model. We have this theory of action in the School Action Fund. If district and campus leaders are supported to plan deeply every aspect of the school action and implement that plan with fidelity, then more students will have access to high quality learning environments and student outcomes will dramatically improve. So planning is a key component of the School Action Fund. Let's look at what's included in the School Action Fund grant. School Action Fund grants include technical assistance from vetted technical assistance providers with expertise in the actions and models and a track record of success. There's also access to tools and resources to support the development of goals, implementation of the school model, including high quality instructional materials and other areas. Funding, of course, and opportunities for leaders to engage in learning and growing together. Since 2017 to 18, the School Action Fund has worked with approximately 90 LEAs, several of which have been awarded multiple grants over 2 or 3 cycles. And we have now supported districts across all ESCs with deep support for over 30,000 students and have awarded over $210 million since 2018. So how does a district select a school action? When districts decide to apply for the School Action Fund, they typically follow the following steps. First, determine whether their campus or community needs match what the School Action Fund is offering. What are you seeing in your data? What are you hearing from families? Is there a need for a brand new school option or a way to address chronic underperformance at the campus level? There are 2 main reasons a district should consider a school action. First, to meet community demand needs for a new high-quality school option, and second, to address chronic underperformance. Next, districts explore the actions and models that TEA is able to support. Which one might be the best fit for your unique campus and community context? Many districts go through this cycle every year, while others engage in this cycle less often. So what school actions should we consider? If you determine a school action is right for you, you'll need to make 3 decisions. Which school action, which governance type, and which school model? We'll walk through each of these decisions. First, which school action? For Restart, this is designed to rapidly turn around a chronically underperforming campus. I think we can click through, there's a quick animation there. Maybe the campus needs a fresh start with new staff and new leadership. Maybe we're on the accountability clock and need a pause in accountability sanctions. Next is, we can stay on that slide. Next, create brand new schools, our brand new schools. Maybe your families are looking for a new school option like a STEM school. Maybe you have a strong leader ready to take on a new challenge, or maybe you'll have a building ready in a couple of years and you have a runway to design a stellar new program. Reassign actions entail closing an underperforming and/or under-enrolled campus and making sure those students transition to high-performing options. So many districts are considering closure and consolidation to right-size their footprint and deliver a great student experience to every kid. So this could be a good option if you are one of those districts. Redesign involves transforming an existing campus with a new academic program. At the end, this campus should be a different place and offer a different learning experience for kids. So maybe you've got a campus with a strong staff, but enrollment is flagging and you'd like to attract families back with a new model. Maybe families are telling you they want a different school model either directly or by voting with their feet by choosing other options. So we've got the actions. Next, what are the different governance types? This decision a district makes is about who will actually run this campus. The School Action Fund supports districts to plan and implement school actions as either a district-run campus or a partner campus. And I'll use a few different terms here for partnership campus. SB 1882, Texas partnerships, district authorized charter, they're all the same. First, I'll talk about district-run schools. The district directly runs the campus while understanding that whatever was going on before was not adequately meeting the needs of all students. They know that something different has to be done to deliver results for kids. So they design a school and an ecosystem of support around that school so that it can thrive. This means bringing all stakeholders to the table during the planning process, clearly identifying what the campus needs to thrive, even if it is different than other campuses. For example, the district-run school might have a different staffing pattern or a different schedule, or maybe even a different curriculum. The district stakeholders need to understand the why behind those actions and what it means for them. For partner-managed campuses, the district seeks an organization that knows how to run schools effectively and partners with that organization for a period of time. This could look like partnering with a local college or university to run certain campuses, partnering with an ESC to run an early childhood center, partnering with a nonprofit to run a campus. The district engages in a process called authorizing to solicit applications, vet organizations that apply, and recommend for approval only those organizations that have the highest likelihood of success to run the campus. In exchange for the autonomy to run the campus, partners have strict accountability in terms of rigorous goals around academic performance, financial health, and organizational health. For some campuses, this could also bring in additional revenue through SB 1882 benefits or receive a pause in accountability sanctions. There are two types of Texas partnerships. Turnaround partnerships, which equate to the School Action Fund Restart Action, provides 2 years of a sanction from a 2-year pause in accountability sanctions. And innovation campuses, which equate to the School Action Fund Create New or Redesign actions, take existing district schools and launch a brand new school with a new operator. The next decision the districts have to make is about which school model. School models are evidence-based, effective schools framework aligned approaches that districts can implement as best fit options for students. For School Action Fund Cycle 9, we're supporting these 3 school models for district-run campuses. ACE, or Accelerating Campus Excellence, which includes strategic staffing. We're going to replace the majority of teachers and incentivize high-performing teachers to come teach at that campus. Instructional excellence with high-quality instructional materials and research-based instructional strategies. Extended school day with up to 60 minutes of additional instructional time every day. Positive school culture and partnerships with parent and community organizations. The next model is the Additional Days School Year, or ADSE full year that Laura mentioned earlier. This is a revamped calendar with up to 210 instructional days. Because you're stretching out the calendar, you can use time during the day differently. So the daily schedule changes to increase teacher planning time and decrease burnout. And you provide more student brain breaks and opportunities for enrichment during those days. And the third school model that we support for district-run campuses is advanced STEM. All campuses need to follow STEM standards. This is about going above and beyond that to create kind of a wall-to-wall STEM environment for kids by integrating STEM into all courses, providing applied learning, instructional excellence, and a school-wide culture of innovation. This model could also support alignments to high school programming like P-TECH pathways. Incidentally, there's also a P-TECH grant in LASO 3, so some of you might be interested in exploring that option for high schools. So this slide shows how the actions, governance types, and models fit together. As you consider whether a school action is right for you, you can read this slide from left to right. First, select an action that's right for your district and campus or community needs. Next, for restart, create new, and redesign, determine whether the district will run this campus directly or the district will seek a partner to manage the campus under an SB 1882 or Texas Partnerships Agreement. For reassign, since the campus will close, there is no governance type or school model. Finally, select the model. We'll walk through some real-life examples of each of these models in an upcoming section. For district-run restart campuses, the only model the School Action Fund supports this grant cycle is ACE. For district-run create new campuses, the district will choose advanced STEM or ADSE full year. The same options for district-run redesigns, advanced STEM or ADSE full year. For partner-managed campuses, the model is dictated by the district needs and the partner that is ultimately selected. The main thing to remember about partner-managed campuses is that the district is the authorizer and is in the driver's seat in terms of organizations they're seeking, models they approve, and goals and metrics for success they ultimately adopt. Partnerships are about balancing autonomy to implement a given model with strict accountability for results. I'll pass it back to Laura to talk about the elements of all School Action Fund grants.
Thank you, Chris. So Chris just went through all of the actions, governance types, and models that are being supported in Cycle 9 for School Action Fund in LASO 3. Regardless of the action, model, or governance type, there are 5 elements that we have seen are included in successful school actions. So these are the ones that I will go through in greater detail, but you see them here. They are alignment to the Effective School Framework, the ESF, inclusion of high quality instructional materials, fondly known as HQIM, research-based instructional strategies or RBs, strategic scheduling, and a campus leader with a track record of success. So, ESF alignment, what does that look like? SAF grantees create a school design plan, which includes all levers of the ESF. And the ESF provides a clear vision of what districts and schools across the state of Texas do to ensure an excellent education for students. And the ESF is the ESF alignment is supported by the TEA School Models Playbooks, which may be found on the Center for School Actions website. And Chris showed you those a couple of minutes earlier when he had the 3 models up: ACE, ADSE, and Advanced STEM. So those are all available on the Center for School Actions. The second one I'll talk about is HQIM, which include for SAF at least math and reading language arts. And we have a pretty specific definition, which is included here on the screen, but it's also included very specifically on pages 17 through 18 in the program guidelines. So the first one is that it must meet all of the requirements of IMRA, and the website is linked here. And then must be approved by the Texas SBOE and on the list of adopted instructional materials. And that's also on the Texas website, the TEA website, and then meet all of the following requirements. And those are pretty traditional in the last few cycles, so they will not be a surprise to anyone either. So please, again, take a very close look at pages 17 through 18 in the program guidelines. The research-based instructional strategies are curriculum agnostic, and they are based on what's really good instructional practices about how students learn in ELAR and math. So they cover topics that require conceptual or philosophical changes to how we approach instruction. And they are based on the science of how students best learn. So we will also link more information on the RBs from the Strong Foundations Planning website so that you can access those. School Action Fund TAs are trained in RBs and will support campus leadership in designing schools that can support their teachers with the research-based instructional strategies. The next element of successful school actions is strategic scheduling. SAF grantees need to design master schedules that maximize available resources and rethink what master schedules look like in order to use time differently, whether it is to align with chosen instructional materials or to maximize teacher time and transform how students spend their time within the school day. So there's specific ways listed in the program guidelines, whether it is using ADSI for your way to include strategic scheduling and or extended day or blended learning. So there are those options in the program guidelines. And then the last element that we'll talk about, and I'm sorry, my cursor seems to be jumping pretty fast this morning, and there it goes again. Okay, the last one is school actions are most successful when there is a strong campus leader with a track record of success who's given a degree of flexibility to change the way the campus functions. So there's a lot of change that campuses undergo when they are a SAF grantee, significant transformative change. And we have found that this needs the steady and capable hand of an experienced leader with a track record of success who is empowered to make those changes and given the leeway and flexibility to enact those changes. So that is one of the elements of successful school actions. So I'll now transition it back over to Chris, where he's going to be talking about the actions and models in action.
Thank you. So we've talked about what this looks like conceptually. Now let's talk about what this looks like in action. I'm going to highlight just a few of the successful School Action Fund campuses that we've supported over the years. First, let's talk about restart actions, and we'll head down to Aldian ISD and Goodman and Worsham Elementaries. So prior to implementing ACE, or Accelerating Campus Excellence, Goodman consistently performed below district average, and Worsham was on a declining trajectory. These campuses fully implemented all aspects of the ACE model. They incentivized high-performing teachers to join the Goodman and Worsham campuses through an annual stipend. They extended the school day to include up to an hour of instruction every day. And they staffed whole child supports like school psychologists and social workers. After ACE implementation, both schools saw less impact from COVID-19 than other district campuses, and students at these campuses, including many subgroups, far outpaced the rest of the district in achievement. Another restart example is the turnaround partnership that Fort Worth ISD has with Texas Wesleyan University. Through this partnership, Fort Worth ISD authorized the Leadership Academy Network, or the LAN, to operate 5 chronically underperforming campuses. In this case, the partner chose the ACE model to transform teaching and learning. All turnaround partnerships must be with organizations with a track record of success and a clear school model designed to rapidly improve student outcomes. The LAN also implements a new teacher development model in which everyone grows, taking advantage of Texas Wesleyan's educator preparation program. In this way, the LAN creates a symbiotic relationship with the district and the university. The district benefits from LAN's expertise and steady stream of teacher interns and residents, aka future teachers. And because they're an 1882 campus, they get additional revenue to invest in those campuses. And Texas Wesleyan benefits because they're basically running lab schools that they use to make sure their future teachers are at the top of their game. Now let's talk about new schools. Great new schools can also be partnerships, and a great example of this in action is the partnership between Plemons Stinnett Phillips, or PSP, and ESC Region 16 to run a new early learning academy for pre-K 3, 4, and kindergarten students through an SB 1882 agreement. The district engaged in a strategic planning process to identify key priorities within the district and the school district, between the community and the school district. Through that process, the district found a need for early childhood education. There were no existing early childhood centers available in the community, and recruiting and retaining quality staff who have young children has been a challenge for the district. The district took steps to address the need by using the School Action Fund supports to solicit applications from potential partners, rigorously vet those applications, and approve the partner with the highest likelihood of success. In this case, it was ESC 16. The school opened in 2024 with 15 pre-K 3 students, 20 pre-K 4 students, which is full capacity, and 30 kindergarten students. A district-run option for Create New Actions is McCool Academy, which launched in 2021 as a new school that replaced a chronically underperforming campus in Lubbock ISD. It implements an advanced STEM model and gives students opportunities to engage in real-world problems and projects. The majority of students in grades 6 through 8 are meeting grade level standards in reading and math according to our latest STAR results, and McCool regularly hosts opportunities for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders to share their learning with the community through McCool Academy exhibitions, such as the 6th and 8th grade examples seen here. I don't know how they beamed up an elephant, but I wish I was there. The next action we'll highlight is the reassign action. Closing campuses is difficult and complex, but in some cases, it might be what's needed to offer a better student experience to all students. Fort Worth ISD has successfully undertaken this action with closure of Como Montessori in 2021. Declining enrollment, lack of fidelity to the Montessori model, and availability at higher open seats at higher performing campuses led the district to decide to close Como Montessori. The district made that difficult decision, then took steps to carefully plan a transition for reassigning those students to existing A or B rated campuses. They closely involved the impacted communities, provided families with options, and through the School Action Fund grant, provided technical assistance to both the closing school and the receiving schools. 90% of Como Montessori students transitioned to A or B rated campuses. The next action we'll highlight is the redesign action, and we'll use the ADSI full year model as an example. ADSI can be implemented as a new school, but most commonly it's used to redesign an existing campus. By adding up to 4 additional weeks to the school calendar, educators are able to rethink the use of time during the day to provide more planning time for teachers, more brain breaks and opportunities for enrichment and tutoring for students, and more opportunities to provide necessary whole child supports. When we look at statewide movement of percent of students at grade level, we see a 2% increase in math and a 3 percentage point decrease in reading for ADSE star tested grade levels, so elementary grade levels. For students attending ADSE, regardless of implementation, that increased to a 5 percentage point increase in math and only a 1 percentage point decrease in reading. For students attending an ADSE full year campus, the ADSE impact doubled. An 11 percentage point increase in students meeting grade level in math and a 1 percentage point increase in reading. Research has also showed reading impact is typically evident in the second year of implementation, so we anticipate this will be further illuminated in an upcoming STAR analysis. This is an example of how an ADSE day might look for your campus. Notice that Wednesdays are strategically changed to meet the needs of students and teachers. ADSE days have more time for brain breaks and 90 minutes for students to engage in project-based learning. Instead of 290 minutes of traditional instruction, an ADSE day instruction is focused on accelerated learning time in reading and math. The key here is the freedom and flexibility for your campus to address individual needs of students during the school day.
Now that we understand what the School Action Fund is and what it looks like in action, let's take a look at the specific requirements for this grant cycle. The School Action Fund is authorized under the same federal legislation as school improvement. So by selecting a school action, the district is naming the school improvement strategy that will be included in required support and improvement plans. As appropriate, districts and campuses implementing School Action Fund should modify practices and policies to provide operational flexibility that implements full and effective implementation of the plans. Refer to the program guidelines for all program requirements. I'm just going to highlight a few of them specifically. Districts of School Action Fund grantees must allow flexibilities and autonomies for full implementation of the school action. These must be memorialized and approved in a performance agreement for district-run campuses or a partnership performance contract if it's partner managed. Also, TEA-approved Board of Trustees training is required so that board members have clear commitment to improving student outcomes, and that board members have the knowledge, skills, and mindsets needed to govern a district with unique school models, such as are involved in school actions. Right now, there are 3 options for board training. They are TSL Board Integrated Pathway, the SGS Board Pathway, and the Lone Star Governance Board Training, or LSG. And if you have any questions about any of those, you can certainly get in touch with the School Action Fund team, and we'll make sure to connect you with any of the teams that you need to. Also, remember that if a district is applying for an implementation grant, there must be documented planning with a TEA-approved technical assistance provider prior to receiving a School Action Fund award in March 2025, which is when the grant will start, and that the campus must be ready to implement the action in fall 2025. For those districts that might be considering exploring closing and or consolidating schools through the reassign or the create new school actions, please carefully read Rule 97.1066, the Campus Repurposing and Closure Rule. That's also linked in the program guidelines. This commissioner rule dictates under what conditions a district may close and or repurpose a campus. Again, refer to the program guidelines for all program requirements, and I'll continue to highlight just a few specifically. So these are specific to partner managed actions. So board members must register for TALA, the Texas Authorizer Leadership Academy, by December 1st of the first year of the awarded grant. And that's specifically worded that way, the first year of the awarded grant. So that's whether you have a planning grant or an implementation grant. It's December 1st of the first year of the awarded grant. And complete TALA training by the end of the first year of the awarded grant. Restart actions are available only to campuses which may be designated as F-rated as per one of the definitions that you see here. And these are also outlined in the program guidelines. So 23-24 accountability ratings, if released, or if there is another definition by TEA, or if confirmed by internal district analysis using publicly available data. And this will need to be confirmed in the interview should you reach the interview phase. So a few highlights for the create new school actions. New school leaders must be designated no later than June 13th of 2025. And there has to be commitment for that empowered campus leaders' full participation in the new school design fellowship program that begins in the summer of 2025. For all new schools, there must be an application for a new CDCN for that new school by March 2026. And also, just as all cycles before, new schools are created with a slow grow model, such as kindergarten through first grade for K-5 new schools, or starting with sixth grade for middle schools for 6th through 8th grade. Unless you're going to be opening a brand new school in a newly constructed building or using a previously unoccupied building. So again, all of these are in the program guidelines, and if you have any questions, you can always send them in so that we can add them to the FAQs. So let's talk a little bit about the scoring. So again, we've talked about this a little bit before. School action eligibility, campuses must be Title I, and they have to be either comprehensive or targeted support identified. They cannot be a prior recipient of a SAF grant since 2019-20, and they cannot be a current recipient of the 2024-2026 ESF Focus Support Grant. We'll have priority points of a maximum of 50 points, 10 points each. So there'll be 10 points for comprehensive support identification, 10 points for low achieving campuses. So that's less than 50% of students who are at meets for a combination of math and ELAR on the 23-24 STAR. There'll be 10 points for economically disadvantaged campuses that have greater than 80% of their students designated as such. We'll be giving priority points, 10 points for those campuses that select the ADSI full year model, and then LEAs that have an Office of Innovation or Transformation. And remember, this is different from being a district of innovation. If you get to the oral interview, there's a maximum of 100 points. And if there's a tie, then we always go with the campus that has the highest economically disadvantaged percentage of students. And I'll go over more on the oral interview on the next couple of slides. So just again on scoring, the highest percentage of economically disadvantaged students proceeds to the next step. For new schools or campuses that are not named or identified, such as maybe in the reassign actions, then the district average is the one that's considered, for example, for the economically disadvantaged or low achieving. A maximum of 150 points may be attained, so maximum of 100 points for oral interviews, plus 50 points for priority points. And then to determine finalists, we will rank order the campuses by action. So that's the methodology. Here's how we will get to the awards. Applicants must meet at least 80% of overall points. So that's 120 out of the total of 150 points. And then we're going to award finalists across the actions until funds are expended. And remember, that's up to $8 million, as Chris said, towards the beginning of the webinar. And we're going to award in the order listed below. Restart actions, create new school actions, reassign actions, and redesign actions. And that's because those are the ones that we see the greatest impact on student outcomes and ROI. And then awards will be made as funding allows. If we have any funds left out of the $8 million, then any remaining funds will be awarded who scored less than 80% in rank order with the highest percentage of economically disadvantaged, while keeping in perspective the maximum of 6 awards of grants per individual LEA and a maximum of 4 awards per action. And that's also in the program guidelines. And again, in the case of a tie, we'll always go with the highest percentage of economically disadvantaged students at the campus. When we're talking about the interviews, this information is also in the program guidelines, and we strongly recommend that all of the parties listed participate in and come prepared to the interviews. And superintendent or superintendent delegate or designee, the proposed grant project manager, and it is a requirement that there is a grant project manager. The CFO, we strongly recommend that the CFO is present, as his or her knowledge of the grant budget, the campus budget, and the district's financial procedures regarding drawdowns and other processes are crucial to the successful implementation of the grant. And we also really would like to see the campus level leader selected to lead the school, really be there in the grant interview if possible, so that that person is involved early and often. And then you see the topics that will be covered and the points for each section during the interview. Just to let you know, the interview window that we have here at the agency is really short. So it's usually about 10 days or so, and there's about 50 applicants who move to that stage. So there's little possibility for rescheduling or postponing or changing date or time for interviews. So just want to give everybody a heads up on that. We will send you an email ahead of time letting you know when your interview is, should you be selected to move on to that phase. So I'm going to pass it back to Chris for a wrap up.
Thank you. And I see the question about Lone Star governance completion. We discussed the board requirements in the section that Laura just went over. There are 3 options for satisfying the board training requirement this year. Lone Star governance is one option. The TSL board integrated pathway is a second option. And the SGS, or System of Great Schools board pathway, is a third option for satisfying the board training requirement. That's new this year. Okay, let's wrap up with some next steps. Okay. TEA, the first set of resources are the school model playbooks that we mentioned. I put the link in the chat for school model playbooks at the Center for School Actions website. That's a TEA website devoted to helping folks understand and explore school actions. The 3 school model playbooks that we're supporting in the School Action Fund Cycle 9 are linked there: ACE, ADSE Full Year, and Advanced STEM. We've also created a school action self-assessment to help districts understand whether a school action could be the right fit, and if so, which school action. So that link Laura will put in the chat, and that's available for you to make a copy and explore whether school actions are right for you. We're also linking materials about partner managed campuses housed on TEA's Texas Partnership website, as well as some materials regarding HQIM and ARBIES. Another note about the Center for School Actions, they are here to support. So the Center for School Actions supports School Action Fund, prospective School Action Fund grantees with resources on the CSA website and office hours to provide districts with decision-making thought partnership on action and model selection. They'll have some office hours that you can register for there and schedule a one-on-one call with a member of that team.
Here is the timeline for LASO 3. The application, of course, opened earlier this week on Monday, the 14th. It will close on December 13th at 5 p.m. Central Time. And you notice I bolded that and put it in blue just as a reminder. It's 5 p.m. Central Time. Scoring and interviews are scheduled to take place in January. And again, please remember that the interview window is very short, so there's little leeway to change any times or dates. The tentative announcement date for awards is February 20th, 2025. And the SAF grants begin date is March 1st, 2025. Please note that LEAs must accept awards and submit budgets in e-grants by March 24th. And the only way that an LEA can get a NOGA is for you to actually complete this step. So again, you must actually submit your budget and accept your award in e-grants by March 24th. So that your NOGA can be issued. And TEA has a plan to hopefully issue NOGAs by May 24th. So on Monday, on the 14th of October, TEA emailed a unique application link to every LEA superintendent. On the LASO 3 cycle webpage, there is also a PDF of the application in case you want to download that while you are walking your way through reviewing grants and making strategic decisions about which grants may be best to apply for your district. However, remember that LEAs must submit the application through Qualtrics using the unique link that was sent to your superintendent. And your superintendent must sign the Qualtrics application for it to be accepted. So even if you download and print that PDF, your superintendent must submit, or designee must submit to that Qualtrics application, and your superintendent must sign that Qualtrics application. Just as a caution, we've seen this a couple times, please don't wait until December 13th to try submitting your application. You know that things happen, technical issues happen, your superintendent might be out that day, so we would advise that you really try to submit your application before December 13th, 5 p.m. at Central Time when the window closes. So some more information for you on resources to support you with your application. There will be a repeat of this webinar, the SAF overview webinar on October 24th at 1 p.m. So if you have anyone else from your district who would like to hear this same information, it will be the same information. And then the following week, the School Action Fund team will be hosting a series of webinars, one for each action. And you can see the dates and times listed here. And when the deck is posted, the links for registration are also included. These links are also already on the LASO 3 webpage for registration for the webinars. There's also several other resources on the LASO 3 webpage, such as the best fit guidance, the one-page documents, and the eligibility and prioritization documents as well. And then you'll see that there's some next steps for guidance as far as visiting the LASO 3 website. There's communication and different ways for you to reach out to the LASO 3 team. And there is upcoming webinars on all of the grants. So we are really hoping that all of this information is helpful for you. And we hope that you will join us for the 4 action webinars and that you will send in any questions that you have to the LASO team, laso@tea.texas.gov. And we are right at time, and we thank you very much for joining us for the School Action Fund webinar. But we have one more crucial piece of information to let you know. So a reminder about change requests and declines. To accommodate the unique circumstances of T-Class with emergency relief funding, change requests and decline options were provided to LEAs. Since we are no longer operating under the same circumstances, LASO will be anchored in informal discretionary competitive grant process, where changes and declines are not advisable. So if declines are requested, they will be considered on a case-by-case basis for the LEAs and could raise the LEA's federal grant risk level in the coming year. So that's a pretty strong caution for you guys to remember. So once again, thank you for joining us. There's office hours coming up, and this webinar and recording will be posted.